My name is Daniel Lake, and I'm the kind of guy who can troubleshoot a network crash at 3 in the morning, but somehow can't figure out why my wife stopped saying, "I love you," 6 months ago. I'm 43. I fix computers for a living, and until last Tuesday, I thought my biggest problem was explaining to clients why their password can't be password 123. Boy, was I wrong. It started with a phone. Not my phone. A second phone hidden in Olivia's jewelry box like some kind of digital time bomb waiting to explode my life into a million pieces. I wasn't snooping, I swear. I was looking for the spare garage door opener because mine decided to die right when I was running late for a client meeting. Olivia always stashed random stuff in that jewelry box. Batteries, business cards, those tiny screwdrivers that come with electronics. Instead, I found a sleek black iPhone I'd never seen before. "What the hell?" I muttered, turning it over in my hands. The screen lit up with a notification. "Graham, can't wait to see you tonight. Wear that red thing I like." My stomach dropped like an elevator with cut cables. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Graham Ryder. Olivia's boss at the advertising agency where she'd been working late so many nights recently. Graham with his silver hair and his Porsche Cayenne and his condescending smile whenever we ran into each other at company parties. I should have put the phone back. I should have walked away and pretended I never saw it. But I'm an IT guy. Curiosity about devices is literally hardwired into my DNA. I swiped to unlock it, and because my wife apparently has the same password creativity as my clients, it opened on the first try, her birthday. The text thread with Graham went back months of messages that made my hands shake as I scrolled through them. "Daniel's working late again. Come over. That new hotel downtown has amazing room service and privacy. He's so clueless. Yesterday he thanked me for working so hard when I came home at midnight. Your husband is such a loser, babe. When are you going to dump him?" "Soon. I'm just waiting for the right moment. Maybe after his birthday. Wouldn't want to seem heartless." My birthday. My birthday had been 3 weeks ago. Olivia had given me a coffee mug that said, "World's okayest husband," and laughed like it was the funniest thing in the world. I'd laughed too, thinking it was one of her quirky jokes. Turns out the joke was on me. I kept reading, even though each message felt like a punch to the gut. "He tried to initiate last night. I pretended to be asleep. Poor Danny. Maybe you should put him out of his misery and just leave." "I will. I'm just figuring out the finances first. He makes decent money, and I want to make sure I get my fair share." "Smart girl. That's why I love you." "Love you too. Can't wait to be free of this suburban nightmare." I sat down hard on our bed, the bed where apparently I'd been sleeping next to a stranger for months. The room spun a little, and I had to focus on breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth, just like my doctor taught me when I had that panic attack after my dad died. But this wasn't grief. This was rage, pure and simple, building up like pressure in a boiler. I looked around our bedroom with new eyes. The expensive perfume on her dresser that she claimed was a sample from work. The new lingerie I'd found in the laundry that she said was just something fun for us, but that I'd never actually seen her wear. The way she'd started showering immediately when she came home from those late nights, claiming she felt gross from the office air conditioning. All lies. All of it. My phone buzzed with a text from Olivia. "Working late again tonight. Don't wait up. Love you." Even her lies had lies. I stared at that message for a long time, then at the secret phone in my other hand. An idea started forming in my mind. Not a nice idea, not a turn-the-other-cheek idea, but an idea that made me smile for the first time in weeks. I'm an IT consultant. I know things about technology, about networks, about how information flows and how it can be redirected. I also know that Olivia's entire social and professional life runs on her reputation. She's always been obsessed with how people see her, with maintaining her image as the successful, sophisticated woman who somehow ended up with the quirky IT guy. Well, if she wanted to be free of this suburban nightmare, I could help with that. I opened my laptop and got to work. First things first, I needed evidence. Real, undeniable, screenshot-worthy evidence. The secret phone was a goldmine, but I needed to be smart about this. I couldn't just confront her with it because she'd deny everything, claim it was planted or fake, or somehow my fault for not being a better husband. No. This required finesse, and maybe a little bit of that vindictive creativity that comes from 15 years of dealing with people who think the computer is broken when they just forgot to plug it in. I spent the next 3 hours going through that phone methodically, screenshotting everything. The texts, the photos. Thankfully nothing too explicit, but plenty of romantic dinner shots I'd never seen. The call log showing hours-long conversations at times when she was supposedly at book club or having girls' night with Margot. Margot, her best friend who'd been covering for her, probably laughing about poor clueless Daniel behind my back. I found texts between Olivia and Margot, too. How do you do it? The lying, I mean. Practice, honey. And remember, men only see what they want to see. Daniel wants to believe you're working late, so he believes it. Sometimes I feel bad. He made me breakfast yesterday and left a little note saying he hoped I had a good day. Ugh, that's so pathetic, it's almost cute. Graham would never do something that cheesy. I know, right? I can't wait to be with someone who actually has some sophistication. I screenshotted that conversation with particular satisfaction. By midnight, I had a comprehensive digital dossier of my wife's affair. Photos, texts, call logs, even GPS data from the phone showing all the places she'd been when she was supposedly working late. The Marriott downtown, Graham's house in the suburbs, a wine bar called Intimate Moments that I'd never heard of, but that apparently they visited twice a week. But I didn't want to just confront her. That would be too easy, too clean. She'd cry, apologize, promise to change, and then probably leave me anyway once the dust settled. No, I wanted consequences, real consequences that would make her understand exactly what she'd thrown away. I started with her work email. Getting into Olivia's work account wasn't hard. She'd asked me to help her set up email on her personal laptop months ago, and like most people, she used the same password for everything. Within minutes, I was browsing through her professional correspondence, looking for the perfect opportunity. I found it in an email thread about the Morrison account, a big client presentation scheduled for Thursday morning, the kind of presentation that could make or break careers at her agency. Graham would be there, along with the senior partners and the client representatives. Perfect. I crafted a careful plan. Nothing illegal, nothing that could get me in trouble, but something that would expose their affair in the most professionally devastating way possible. I set up a few automated processes, scheduled some emails, and made sure everything would trigger at exactly the right moment. Then I moved on to phase 2, the social circle. Olivia's friends were all on social media, all connected to each other in that tight web of suburban social networking where everyone knows everyone else's business. Margot, Jennifer from her yoga class, Susan from the neighborhood book club, Amanda from college who still lived in town. I created a few fake accounts, nothing elaborate, just enough to start spreading some carefully selected information at the right time. A comment here, a shared photo there, a few strategic friend requests to mutual acquaintances. By 3 a.m, I had a multi-pronged attack ready to launch. All I needed was the right trigger moment. I put the secret phone back exactly where I'd found it and went to bed. Olivia came home at 3:47 a.m. I heard her trying to be quiet, slipping into the bathroom to shower off the evidence of her evening with Graham. She slid into bed next to me, probably thinking I was asleep. "How was work?" I mumbled, pretending to wake up. "Oh, boring meeting stuff. Sorry I'm so late, honey. Go back to sleep." She kissed my forehead, and I had to fight the urge to pull away. Instead, I made a sleepy noise and rolled over. "Love you, Liv." Love you too, Danny. Even now, even knowing what I knew, the lie came so easily to her that I almost admired it. Almost. The next morning, she was up early, getting ready for work with unusual care. A new dress I hadn't seen before, the expensive perfume, makeup applied with the kind of attention she used to reserve for special occasions. "Big day today?" I asked over coffee. "The Morrison presentation. I told you about it, remember?" I had no memory of her mentioning any Morrison presentation, but then again, I'd stopped paying close attention to her work stories months ago when I realized they were mostly fiction anyway. "Right. Good luck with that." She kissed me goodbye, a quick peck that felt like a business transaction, and headed out to her car. I watched from the window as she checked her reflection in the rearview mirror one more time before backing out of the driveway. Then I went to my computer and started the countdown. The Morrison presentation was scheduled for 10 a.m. At 9:55, I triggered the first phase of my plan. I'd programmed a simple script to send an email to the entire agency distribution list, partners, employees, even the reception desk, with the subject line, R.E. Morrison Presentation Materials. It looked like a standard work email, the kind that gets sent dozens of times a day in any office environment. But instead of presentation slides, the email contained a carefully curated selection of screenshots from Olivia's secret phone. Nothing explicit, nothing that could get me sued, but enough to make it crystal clear what had been going on between her and Graham. The first screenshot showed a text exchange. "Can't focus on the Morrison prep. Keep thinking about last night. Me too. Your husband suspects anything? Daniel? Please. He thinks I'm working late on client reports." The second was a photo they'd taken together at that wine bar, Graham's arm around Olivia, both of them looking very much like a couple. The third was the most damaging, a text from Graham saying, "After we land Morrison, I'm thinking we celebrate with a weekend in Napa. Tell Danny you're at a work conference." I'd timed it perfectly. The email would hit everyone's inbox just as they were gathering for the presentation. By the time Olivia and Graham realized what had happened, the entire office would have seen it. My phone rang at 10:23 a.m. "What the hell did you do?" Olivia's voice was so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. "Good morning to you too, honey. How's the presentation going?" "Don't you dare play dumb with me, Daniel. Everyone in the office got that email. How did you where did you get those photos?" "Oh, those? I found them on a phone. Interesting phone, actually. Hidden in your jewelry box like some kind of treasure." The silence on the other end was deafening. "Daniel, I can explain. Can you? Because I'd love to hear the explanation for months of lying, cheating, and making me feel like I was crazy for thinking something was wrong. It's not what you think. Graham and I were just what, Olivia? Just having romantic dinners? Just taking couple photos? Just planning weekend getaways while lying to your husband about work conferences?" I heard voices in the background, someone saying her name urgently. "I have to go," she said. "We'll talk about this at home." "Will we? Or will you be working late again?" She hung up. Phase 1 was complete, but I was just getting started. I spent the rest of the morning monitoring social media and the agency's public profiles. By noon, the story had leaked beyond the office. Someone, probably someone who'd been passed over for promotions while Olivia was sleeping her way up the ladder, had shared the story with friends. Those friends had shared it with their friends. The suburban gossip network was incredibly efficient when it had juicy material to work with. My phone buzzed with a text from Pete, my neighbor. "Dude, is everything okay? Karen heard something at the grocery store about Olivia and her boss." I texted back, "Define okay. Wanna talk? I've got beer." Later, still processing. But I wasn't processing. I was planning phase 2. Olivia came home at 2 p.m., which was either very early for a workday or very late for a crisis management meeting. Her face was red and blotchy like she'd been crying, and her carefully applied makeup was smudged. "We need to talk," she said, dropping her purse on the kitchen counter with more force than necessary. "Do we? Because I feel like I've been trying to talk to you for months, and you've been too busy with Graham to listen. Don't be sarcastic, Daniel. This is serious. You're right. It is serious. Your affair is now public knowledge at your workplace. Your boss, who is also your lover, is probably in damage control mode trying to save his own career. And you're standing in our kitchen acting like I'm the one who did something wrong. She sat down at the kitchen table, put her head in her hands. I never meant for it to happen this way. Which way did you mean for it to happen, Liv? Were you planning to just disappear one day? Leave a note? Or were you going to keep stringing me along indefinitely while you had your fun? It wasn't supposed to be fun. It just happened. Bullshit. I sat down across from her. I read the texts, Olivia, all of them. This wasn't some spontaneous thing. You've been planning this for months. You've been laughing about me behind my back, calling me clueless and pathetic and a loser. She looked up, and I saw something I'd never seen in her eyes before. Fear. You read all of them? Every single one, including the ones where you and Margot discussed how easy it was to lie to me, including the ones where Graham called me a suburban nightmare, including the ones where you planned to leave me right after my birthday because you didn't want to seem heartless. Daniel, You what? You're sorry? You didn't mean it? It was a mistake? She was quiet for a long moment. I was going to tell you. Soon. When? After the Napa trip? After you'd figured out how to maximize your share of our assets? After you'd completely humiliated me in front of everyone we know? It wasn't about humiliating you, wasn't it? Because from where I'm sitting, that's exactly what it was about. You wanted to trade up, and you wanted to make sure everyone knew that poor Daniel wasn't good enough for sophisticated Olivia. She started crying then, real tears this time. I do love you, Daniel. I always have. But we grew apart, and Graham made me feel, stop. I held up a hand. Just stop. Don't insult my intelligence by pretending this was about love or growing apart or any of that romance novel garbage. This was about you wanting something you thought was better, and you were too much of a coward to end our marriage before you started shopping for a replacement. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Graham. We need to talk. Meet me at O'Malley's bar at 6 p.m. I showed the screen to Olivia. Her face went white. Don't go, she said. Please, he's not handling this well. Not handling it well? What does that mean? He's angry. He thinks you're trying to destroy his career. I laughed, and it came out harsher than I intended. I'm not trying to destroy his career, Olivia. I already did destroy his career. And yours too, probably. That email went to everyone at your agency, including the partners and the Morrison client representatives. The client was there? Oh, yes. According to my research, Morrison Industries has a very strict morality clause in their contracts. They don't do business with companies that have ethical issues. She stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. You planned this. All of it. I'm an IT consultant, Liv. Planning is what I do. This isn't you, Daniel. You're not vindictive. You're not cruel. You're right, I wasn't. But apparently I'm capable of learning new skills when properly motivated. I stood up and grabbed my jacket. Where are you going? To meet your boyfriend. He wants to talk, so we'll talk. Daniel, please, don't make this worse. I looked at her sitting at our kitchen table. Mascara streaked down her cheeks, her expensive dress wrinkled from the day's drama. Worse for who, Olivia? For you? For Graham? Because from my perspective, things are finally starting to get better. O'Malley's was the kind of bar where middle-aged men went to drink away their disappointments. Dim lighting, worn leather stools, and a bartender who minded his own business. Perfect for a conversation that might get heated. Graham was already there when I arrived, sitting in a corner booth with a whiskey that looked like it wasn't his first. He'd loosened his tie and his silver hair was messed up like he'd been running his hands through it. When he saw me, his face darkened. You son of a bitch, he said as I slid into the booth across from him. Evening, Graham. Thanks for the invitation. Can I buy you another drink, or are you driving tonight? Don't be cute, Daniel. You know what you did. I do. Do you know what you did? He leaned forward, and I could smell the alcohol on his breath. I could have you arrested for hacking, corporate espionage, identity theft. Could you? That's interesting. Tell me, what exactly did I hack? Because, as far as I know, reading text messages on a phone that was hidden in my own house doesn't constitute any kind of crime. His jaw tightened. You deliberately sabotaged a business presentation. You interfered with a client relationship. That's tortious interference at minimum. Tortious interference. I nodded thoughtfully. That's a fancy legal term. Did you look that up before you came here, or do you just naturally speak like a pretentious asshole? Watch your mouth. Or what? You'll fire me? Oh wait, you can't fire me because I don't work for you. You'll steal my wife? Already tried that one. You'll ruin my reputation? I'm an IT consultant, Graham. My reputation is built on being reliable and discreet, and I've never been more reliable in my life. He took another sip of whiskey, trying to regain his composure. What do you want? Want? I don't want anything from you. I already got what I wanted. Which was the truth. For months, I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I thought maybe I was being paranoid or insecure or just a bad husband. Turns out I was right all along. Look, Daniel, what happened between Olivia and me? What happened, I interrupted, is that you decided to screw my wife and then convince her that I was some kind of loser who didn't deserve her. What happened is that you both spent months laughing about how clueless and pathetic I was while you planned your little romantic getaways. It wasn't like that. Really? Because I have text messages that say otherwise. Lots of them. Graham's face was getting red now, whether from anger or alcohol I couldn't tell. You think you're so smart, don't you? You think you've won something here? Haven't I? Your career at the agency is over. There's no way the partners will keep you after this, especially since you lost the Morrison account. Your wife probably knows about the affair by now, so your marriage is likely finished, and Olivia's career is in ruins too, which means she'll be looking for a new job and a new place to live. You destroyed two people's lives over a relationship that was already over anyway. Was it over? Because Olivia was still living in my house, sleeping in my bed, and taking my money to buy lingerie for your dates? If the relationship was over, she forgot to mention it to me. Graham finished his whiskey and signaled for another. She was going to leave you. We talked about it all the time. When? After you'd convinced her to clean out our joint accounts? After you'd helped her figure out how to maximize her divorce settlement? Or were you just going to keep her as a side piece indefinitely while you stayed married to your own wife? He didn't answer, which was answer enough. Here's what I think happened, Graham. I think you liked having a younger woman who thought you were sophisticated and successful. I think you liked the ego boost of stealing someone else's wife. But I don't think you had any intention of actually leaving your own marriage or making any real commitment to Olivia. That's not true. Isn't it? Because according to the text messages, you've been promising to leave your wife for 6 months, but somehow the timing never seems right. Graham's new whiskey arrived, and he took a large gulp. You don't understand the situation. I understand it perfectly. You wanted to have your cake and eat it too. Well, congratulations. Now you don't have any cake at all. This isn't over, Daniel. Yes, it is. It's completely over. You're going to finish your drink, go home to whatever's left of your marriage, and stay the hell away from my wife. And if you ever contact me again, I'll release the rest of the screenshots I haven't shared yet. There are more? I smiled and pulled out my phone, scrolling through the photos I'd taken of the secret phone's contents. Oh, there are so many more. Photos, videos, voice messages, location data showing exactly where you two went and when. I've got enough material to keep the gossip mill running for months. Graham's face had gone pale. What do you want me to do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Don't call Olivia. Don't text her. Don't try to see her. Don't contact me. Don't drive by my house. Just disappear from our lives completely. And if I do that, you'll keep the rest private? Maybe. Or maybe I'll release everything anyway just for the entertainment value. I haven't decided yet. He stared at me for a long moment. You're not the same person Olivia married. You're right. I'm better. Turns out betrayal is a hell of a motivator for personal growth. I stood up and threw a 20 on the table. Thanks for the chat, Graham. Enjoy the rest of your evening. As I walked toward the door, I heard him call after me. She never loved you, you know. Not really. I turned back. Maybe not, but she never loved you either. She loved the idea of trading up, of being with someone she thought was more successful and sophisticated than her boring IT husband. But you know what? You're just another middle-aged man having a midlife crisis. There's nothing sophisticated about that. It's actually pretty pathetic. I left him sitting there with his whiskey and his ruined life. When I got home, Olivia was packing. She'd spread suitcases across our bed and was methodically folding clothes into them. Her movements were efficient, practiced, like she'd been planning this for a while. Going somewhere? I asked from the doorway. My sister's place in Phoenix, just for a few days while I figure things out. Things? My job, for starters. They put me on administrative leave pending an investigation. Investigation into what? She gave me a look that could have frozen hell. Don't play dumb, Daniel. You know exactly what investigation. I sat down in the chair by our dresser, watching her pack. What did they tell you? That there were questions about my relationship with a supervisor and whether it affected my professional judgment. That the Morrison account was concerned about the agency's ethical standards. That I should consider looking for other opportunities. So you're fired. Not officially, but yes. She folded a sweater with more force than necessary. Graham's wife called me, she said without looking up. Did she? That must have been an interesting conversation. She wanted to thank me. That surprised me. Thank you? For helping her see what kind of man she was married to. Apparently, I wasn't his first affair, just the most public one. Olivia sat down on the edge of the bed, looking suddenly exhausted. 20 years of marriage, and she said she'd suspected for most of it but never had proof. Until today. And how do you feel about that? How do you think I feel? I threw away my marriage, my career, and my reputation for a man who was just using me as his latest midlife crisis accessory. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Did you really think he was going to leave his wife for you? She was quiet for a long time. I wanted to believe it. He made me feel special, important, like I was worth something more than this suburban life. What's wrong with suburban life? Nothing. Everything. I don't know, Daniel. I just felt trapped, like I was disappearing into this routine of work and home and grocery shopping and book club meetings, like I was becoming invisible. So you decided to have an affair to feel visible again. I decided to feel alive again. And yes, that was selfish and stupid and hurtful, but I can't take it back now. She stood up and continued packing. I talked to a lawyer today. Of course you did. He said that, given the circumstances, I shouldn't expect much in a divorce settlement. Adultery affects things, apparently. Imagine that. You're enjoying this, aren't you? I considered the question seriously. Parts of it. I'm enjoying the fact that there are consequences for what you did. I'm enjoying the fact that Graham's life is falling apart just like mine did when I found that phone. I'm enjoying the fact that for once, I'm not the one feeling stupid and humiliated. And the other parts? The other parts hurt like hell. 20 years of marriage, Olivia. 20 years of building a life together, and you threw it away for 6 months of excitement with a man who was never going to choose you over his own comfort. She zipped up one suitcase and started on another. I know you hate me. I don't hate you. I hate what you did. I hate that you lied to me for months while I tried to figure out what was wrong with our marriage. I hate that you made me feel like I was crazy for suspecting something. but I don't hate you. What happens now? Now you go to your sister's place and figure out your next move. I stay here and figure out mine. We get divorced, divide up our stuff, and try to build new lives. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in months. She looked older somehow, worn down by the day's events. The expensive dress was wrinkled, her makeup was gone, and her hair was falling out of its careful styling. She looked like a woman who'd made a series of terrible choices and was just beginning to understand the cost. I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe someday, but not today, and probably not tomorrow either. She nodded and went back to packing. Daniel? Yeah? I am sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I am genuinely sorry for hurting you. I know you are, but being sorry doesn't undo the damage, does it? She finished packing in silence. When she was done, she stood by the bedroom door with her suitcases, looking around the room like she was memorizing it. I'll call you in a few days. We'll need to talk about the house, the accounts, all that stuff. We will. She started to leave, then turned back. For what it's worth, Graham was wrong about you. You're not a loser or pathetic or any of those things we said. You're actually pretty formidable when you want to be. Thanks, I think. After she left, I sat in our bedroom, my bedroom now, and looked around at the space that had been ours for so many years. Her perfume still lingered in the air, and there were indentations in the carpet where her dresser had stood. My phone buzzed with a text from Pete. Saw Olivia loading suitcases. You okay? I texted back, getting there. Beer? Yeah, give me 10 minutes. I changed clothes, locked up the house, and walked next door to Pete's place. He was waiting on his back porch with 2 cold beers and the kind of understanding silence that comes from 20 years of friendship. Hell of a day, he said, handing me a beer. Hell of a few months, really. You want to talk about it? Not much to say. My wife was cheating on me with her boss. I found out and made sure everyone else found out too. Now she's gone and I'm starting over at 43. You could have handled it differently. Could have. Didn't want to. Pete nodded. Fair enough. What's next? I took a long pull of beer and thought about it. Honestly, I have no idea. I've been so focused on surviving this mess that I haven't thought much about what comes after. Well, you've got time to figure it out now. Yeah. Time and a whole lot of space. We sat in comfortable silence, drinking our beers and watching the sun set over the suburban neighborhood that Olivia had found so suffocating. It looked pretty peaceful to me. My phone buzzed one more time, a text from an unknown number. This is Margot. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for my part in what happened. You deserved better. I showed it to Pete. You going to respond? Nope. I'm done with all of them. I deleted the message and put my phone away. You know what's funny? I said. What? 6 months ago, I thought my biggest problem was that my wife seemed distant. I worried that we were growing apart, that maybe I wasn't exciting enough or successful enough or sophisticated enough. I spent all this time wondering what I could do to fix our marriage. And now? Now I realize the marriage was already over. I just didn't know it yet. Pete raised his beer. To new beginnings. I clinked my bottle against his. To new beginnings. As we sat there in the gathering darkness, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Not happiness, not yet, but a kind of calm certainty that I'd done what needed to be done. I'd fought back. I'd refused to be the victim in my own life story, and for the first time in a very long time, that felt like enough.